To victory on Saturday night for Anthony Joshua would be first and foremost to fight the fight centre ring. Don't allow dominance from Pulev. Don't allow him to apply that mental pressure that he's looking to apply on Saturday night. Keep the fight centre ring, move clockwise. You'll see how Pulev has to constantly keep lifting his leg up against Vladimir as Vladimir edges to his left. You'll see that Pulev has to keep adjusting his position. From there, he's moving away from that jabbing hand, so that takes the jab away from Pulev. And then you use your own jab. A great way to take away the jab from another fighter is to jab yourself. Jab to the body, little half feints, keep Pulev off balance. By doing that, you see these little half feints, you're keeping him off balance, then you can jab to his chest and you can force him off balance and push him out of centre ring, and then ultimately set him up for these shots from range, from distance, which Joshua is very good at. He's able to cover distance, he has the speed, the reach, the athleticism to do this. As long as he's patient in the fight, this will be a key to victory. And the blueprint to victory on Saturday night for Pulev ultimately is to apply mental pressure early, edging his lead foot into position as you can see here, forcing Joshua to punch as he did there with Klitschko. He forced Klitschko to lead, and then it's timing beats speed. If you can force Joshua into mistakes by putting that mental pressure on him and pushing him against the ropes, see as you got here against Fury, and using those little feints, that will help him to be able to set up his punches. From there, because of the way Joshua uses his defense, you can pull his gloves. Because he looks to parry, you can pull his guard apart and expose those gaps in his defense. And to keep himself safe against Joshua, he has to be able to get himself back out to range, so his back foot has to be quicker in order to keep himself safe. For my take on the fight, despite all the analysis, it's still a difficult fight to predict, because ultimately you're looking at one fighter who is nearly 40 years of age. He hasn't fought at a high level for a while, and his toughest fight, he struggled. You know, he had a kamikaze style against Klitschko and left himself exposed, but albeit he showed a lot of resilience, took some heavy shots and went to war with Klitschko, and he landed some good stuff himself, and he was effective to a certain extent in that fight, but there was little lulls, and that's the difference between good fighters and top fighters. Now, Joshua isn't Klitschko, and Joshua has his own fragilities, and the difference is his fragilities are still there because he hasn't developed a style as of yet that's going to be effective like Klitschko's, because Klitschko built it upon patience and upon landing and then smothering the opponent's work. Joshua still, you could see, had the naivety in him against Ruiz. Is Pulev going to be able to apply that pressure? Well, Joe Goosen was meant to be training him for this fight before the pandemic, so we can tell that Pulev's attitude is to be ultra aggressive, because that's what Joe is. He's an ultra attacking coach, so we know his mindset is to go and he's going to try and put the pressure on, and he's going to have a shootout with Joshua. But can Joshua afford to be in shootouts? Because ultimately he still is fragile, and that's the thing we've got to look at. Andy Ruiz is a totally different kettle of fish to Kubrat Pulev. Pulev is much more of a straight shooter, European style, a lot of aggressive feints, a lot more patience, but he's still trying to create openings with that lead hand, jab into the body, jab into the head, sweeping your guard away to open up things. He's active without doing a lot, whereas Andy Ruiz is very, very patient and waits for those moments. And that's the difference. That was the difference between the first fight and the second fight. The first fight, the opportunities came to him. The second fight, they never came to him. Joshua never engaged him, and that's how he nullified him. Because Ruiz was too patient and too much waiting on one moment for him to come in so he could land again to the head with the counters, with the hooks. As I say, Pulev's a straight shooter, but those straight shots can cause Joshua problems. As much as we've seen him hit with hooks, straight shots can cause him problems. We know that he can be hurt to the body too. Dillian White showed that, and Pulev is very good at shooting straight shots down to the solar plex, and that can slow Joshua down as this fight goes on. So Joshua's got to be aware of that. And then you have to look at the element of, well, Pulev, as he edges forward, he leaves himself open to shots because of his wide guard and his wide stance, and because he's not quick on the back foot to get out, he can be caught. It's about how Joshua negates that, because see, Joshua has to be aware that if he does do what Klitschko does and fires in from range, still got to set it up. He's still got to keep himself disciplined, and that's what it's about on Saturday night. Is he going to have the same discipline as he did against Ruiz, against Pulev? Because Pulev is going to put a different type of pressure on him, and that is what's so intriguing about this fight. For me, predictions, it's very, very difficult. You sort of think to yourself, well, you should really be able to back Joshua winning this fight via possibly a late stoppage, mid to late stoppage, or on points. Possibly needing to break down Pulev, because Pulev is a tough man. I saw, the amount of shots he took against Klitschko, he showed a lot of toughness, but he can be hurt and he can be taken. And it wouldn't surprise me if Joshua stops him or wins it on points. But I then look and think, then fragilities are still there. And if anyone said to me, look, I want to bet on Pulev, I wouldn't say, look, I'm not a betting man, but it wouldn't surprise me, because ultimately Joshua still has those vulnerabilities, and until he shows a style, a consistent style that he's found to be able to nullify opponents landing on him, he's always going to have those worries. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like, share and subscribe, and definitely comment below your predictions on the fight. And as I say, look, nothing would surprise me in this fight. For all intents and purposes, you would expect Joshua to win this one, but there's still some